everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Encouragement Today. My name is Vinny, and I'm here again with my wife, Krystal. Welcome back, babe.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be sharing our story with everyone.
Yeah, we are on, this is episode
5. Yep.
I almost said 4.
Yep.
This is episode 5. This is a special episode. We get to share with you all of the details of the rest of our adoption, and so it is National Adoption Awareness Month, and we have been sharing our story of adoption. So if you haven't seen any of the previous episodes, it would be foolish of you to start at this episode. So go back and watch the other 4 episodes, and they'll be good so you can catch up, right?
Yes.
And make sure you like, share, subscribe, do all those things, because we want to be encouragement to more people. And the more you do that, the more people will actually get to see this episode. So hashtag National Adoption Awareness. Give your disclaimer to everybody.
Well, we just want to say that this is our story as the adoptive parents, and obviously our kids have their experience and what their life was like, and joining our family was a whole, their world turned upside down. So this is just how our story went.
Right.
But we are excited to share that with you, and maybe even we could hear from them. We've had some talks about that. Maybe we'll do something special with them.
Do like a special episode.
I mean, that would be awesome.
Possibly. We're not promising anything.
Yes.
Don't hold us to it, but if it could happen.
Yeah. And our kids are adults. Are we saying what today is?
Yeah, we can say what today is. We can't give the details yet, though.
Well, yeah, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves.
Right.
But today is really a special day. So if we get if I get more emotional, yes, while we are recording it, today is actually our 10-year anniversary of our court date. So the day that we went to court with our kids, and the judge approved and made them officially ours, was 10 years ago today.
Today, as we record this episode. So this is pretty crazy that we're doing this today. And I'm already starting to think about all the emotions.
I've been emotional all day.
This is going to be a fun one today. So let's dive in, kind of recap what we've talked about a little bit in our journey. Is we had done some so we always wanted to adopt. We had done some hosting. We hosted 2 boys from Ukraine. We thought we were going to adopt the 2 boys. They're incredible, and those stories are in our previous episodes. So make sure you check that out. It didn't work out that way. God had a different plan.
He did.
And now we're on to God's plan.
Yeah.
And this is where we tell you the rest of the story.
Yeah. So to fill out the story a little bit, when you go to Ukraine to adopt, at this time, you have 3 referrals, which basically meant 3 times to meet kids. So we had, went all the way down, from the capital Kyiv down to Simferopol to meet, the boys. And, they had said no. Make sure you watch the other episodes for that full story.
Lots of details that we're leaving out. It's not it's okay.
Yeah. And then, we met 2 other children, a boy and a girl. And they also said no after they
That's where we ended our last episode.
With them saying no. So
we were so encouraged at that point.
No, I mean, encouraged. We were not encouraged.
No, we were not encouraged at all. So literally it was like this weird scenario. When they said no, we both were it was like we were already almost dead from the last one. Right.
It was kind of like the emotions were kind of removed. We were just like, wait a minute. They said they were interested in, an American family adopting them. And then it was like, no, door slammed, shut down.
And this is where the story takes a drastic turn for the good.
Amen.
Because immediately following them saying no, we have to go to this. And I remember the drive. We're ticked off. What ticked off is, we were pretty
hurt.
We were pretty mad.
Well, mad, but I mean, there was disappointment because there was a younger boy. Yeah, there was a younger boy who you could just see it was looking for parents to take care of him and love on him, and his older sister said no to that, and so that's heartbreaking to know you're leaving kids behind in an orphanage. That was heartbreaking.
Yeah, it was So you start questioning, like, what? Okay, God, what are you doing?
And we have one chance left.
Right, and now we're at the last.
Yeah, this is it.
Final thing. So we end up driving to this. Our facilitator had to go submit some more documents
because everything is about documents when you're doing this.
It's all paperwork.
Everything is paperwork,
handwritten paperwork, not even computers.
It was 10 years ago. They may be a little different now,
but probably not. And so everything was writing things down and all this stuff. And so she had to submit the paperwork saying that they said no. She walks into this building and we're sitting in the car for, let's call it an hour.
The taxi. Just waiting.
Just waiting. Just talking. Waiting.
Like praying, like, God, what are you doing?
God?
And we knew that we went to Ukraine to adopt. We knew that we were there to bring the children that God had for us home.
I always say it was a rescue mission. You don't like that terminology, but it is. We're rescuing God's kids. You know what I mean? So
well, the reason why it's not my favorite term is that I reading through all the posts from 10 years ago, I read one of the lines and I had said, like, so many people keep saying that we are, basically doing something amazing for them, but they have enriched our lives so much.
Right.
So it's like, yes, we did take them out of that situation of an orphanage and not having family and not, having a home, but they completed our family. They became our kids. And so
it became more of a rescue, but in the beginning, like, that's what our hearts was that, you know what I mean? So it was like, who of God's children can we bring into our family?
Yeah. Who did God have for us? Who were the kids that he wanted in our lives?
And as a result, the blessing of that is on us more so. So yeah, a great way to put it. So, we don't always say the same things, and
that's okay though.
Yeah, and it's great. So
we both have our opinions.
All right, well, let's get our opinions.
This is not marriage counseling.
No.
Yes. So our facilitator was in
a building
for about an hour,
and she comes running out the building.
Yeah, with some news.
Yes,
and she told us that she had gone into the wrong office.
Yeah.
And she came back with a question for us.
Right. And so, like, she came back immediately saying, I don't know why I went into this office.
Yeah.
It makes no sense at all. And we had shared our story with her about God and how he's part of our lives. And she's like, so I think this is a miracle. This is, you remember her saying all this?
Yeah.
She's like, I think this is a miracle, and I think I found your kids.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And she's like,
how do you feel?
Yeah. And she's like, so I'm pretty sure this is God. And like, we're like, okay. So now, like, she's starting to talk God stuff. And we're like, okay. She goes into the wrong building and her friend is there. And her friend says, I know who these people need to adopt. And she shows a picture of, go ahead, you can say it.
Well, I think she asked us, how do you feel?
How do you feel?
About 3 girls.
3 girls.
3 girls.
Yes.
And of course, mind racing. It's like, 3 girls. I'm thinking logistics. Can we even do that? And for those of you who listen to our
right now, if you have to go
other thing,
episodes,
paperwork. It's all about the paperwork. And when the boys had said no, and we had to change our paperwork and we had to do all these things, she had told us, and I just blindly did whatever you tell me to do, I'll do it. She had said, you need to widen your paperwork and you need to change it from boys to boys or girls. And instead of 2, change it to 3.
And what's funny is I don't remember her saying that.
Oh,
I remember the change it from boys to boys and girls. I remember that side of it, but I don't remember her saying the part about 2 to 3 because, and like even us at the end, we were like, and when we were going, she's like, 3 girls, and we're like, I don't think we can do it because, and my thought was we didn't change the number to 3. We only put 2.
Yeah.
And so when we went back and we're like, okay, can we do 3? It was already on the paperwork that we could do 3.
Yeah.
And that in and of itself is a miracle. Like, still don't know how. And
I remember her saying it was wide in the nets, wide, like that was her big thing, wide in the nets, like we're fishing, and being on the boat and God's doing miracles. But we had to change it, and we did. We changed it to 3, which even changing it, it's not like we ever thought we were going to adopt 3. We were just thinking 2 because that's what we had prepared for.
Definitely. We had 3 at home.
We had 3 at home. Yes,
and
we had 3 kids at home.
We were doubling it up at that point.
But the reason why she wanted us to meet these 3 girls is when she walked into that office, she found out that there was an orphanage, another one in the same town, so in the same place we were at.
Right where we were at. Yeah.
That was smaller than the other big one we had gone to, but was being closed down. And word was kind of just getting out that it was closed down. And the director of that orphanage, because it was being turned basically into like a preschool daycare, that the director of that orphanage was searching for families, searching for people to adopt her kids. This was a loving director who knew what was out there and wanted to find homes for these kids. So whether the foster care or if there were kids, whatever, being adopted, but she was basically searching for these kids to be adopted.
And it was, so we, I mean, at that moment, like, it's like a shock. We're like 3 girls, right? I mean, I remember in the other episodes that we talked about, we had set up the boys' room.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we're talking
a whole boys' room, which is very opposite than a girls' room.
It was definitely with like the red, white, and blue theme. We had decorated like, bunk bed. I mean, we had the whole 9. And to have to switch to girls was
just the thought of it. Yeah.
And so we were like shook up about that. But then, and this goes back to another picture, right? We get to see the picture of them. But before we did that, we had to go. How did that happen? Because didn't we get to see them?
Yes. So because we were in this town, far away from Kyiv and the capital.
Picture first.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if we saw a picture. I mean, I wish I had a diary then or something, because relying on my memories.
A lot of stuff we posted on our Facebook
We did.
page.
Okay, so because we were meeting the girls and didn't know them, we decided on the Facebook page that we have that we didn't post about them until, I think it was also to protect our hearts. We didn't post about them until we actually had the court date. So we said we met kids, but we didn't say anything about them. We didn't say that they were girls. We didn't even say we were coming home with 3.
Right.
We just said we have our 3rd referral. Pray, because if this doesn't work out, we're coming home and we without adopting,
Right.
And so I think it was to protect us, and we were like focused on, okay, Lord, if these are kids, and so. Because our facilitator was like, no, you're going to go home with your kids. She talked with the director and told the director, I have an American family. And the director let us come and meet them. So so we were, I don't think we saw that official picture of them. I think we went that day in the taxi.
She showed us in the office.
Yeah.
That's what it was. I remember the director said, well, here's a picture of them. And, gave us the picture.
Yeah.
And and so it's like another picture, and I'm like just staring at this picture going,
3 little girls in their Ukrainian school outfits.
Yes. And it was like, I immediately felt like these are our kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was like an immediate like peace, an immediate like these are our kids. Like it was like
this is gonna work.
This is the reason why we came here. And it was crazy to think that you go through all of that with Alex and Sasha, the boys, and we get to this point, and it's like we weren't here for them.
No,
we were here for these girls.
Yeah,
and that was a wild moment of like realizing it as we're sitting in this director's office. She's asking all these questions about like what we do. She was super nice.
Yes.
And thankfully liked me a little bit and what I did for work. And like, she was like, oh, big chef, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. They'll always be fed. She made like a comment like that.
So
they won't go hungry.
Because the other lady did not like us.
You
So,
the
yeah.
first one.
Yeah.
Ooh, she was not a fan of us.
No.
But this director
It was great.
was very great. And
So-
we'll have to tell some of the backstories later because there was some stuff happening with the kids, the girls, that we found out later. Yeah.
But this director was like, hey, come and meet them.
Yes.
Before
So-
we had a referral.
So we had to, it was a little bit of a roundabout.
Back-ended, kind of.
And we're not going to get anyone in trouble at this point
No,
because
I think it's too far
it's
gone from that.
not even in Ukraine anymore.
Not
They're
even a
Russia.
So, thankfully, this director said, let's not worry about the referral stuff. Let's meet the girls.
Yeah.
And so we ended up going to the orphanage, sitting down with her, talking to her, and then she brought in the girls.
Yeah. And my goodness. I mean, and can you imagine even from their point of view, coming home from school and being like, you're going to meet a family.
Right.
And it was us, you know?
They got out of school early.
Yeah,
Right?
I think so. I think they did. And they had to come meet us. And oh my goodness, cutest little things ever. So, so they were 3 girls, 14, 11, and 9.
Yep.
Which is crazy.
Yep.
And their names were Valerie, Elena, and Sasha was our youngest. Even though that was her nickname, but she's had all sorts of nicknames.
Right.
Yeah.
So going back to the mugs.
So yeah, there was an
Back to the mugs.
Alexis.
There was definitely an Alexis, or it was Sasha, but her name was
Alexandra.
yeah. So, but when she wanted to, we asked them when we were doing paperwork and everything what she wanted her name to be, and she picked Alexis. So
Yeah.
we did not force that issue.
No, we gave each of them the opportunity, and they picked their middle names.
Their middle name.
So if they wanted to change their first name, so Valerie kept hers. We won't say, I guess, her middle names. We don't want to give all that information out. But
Right.
Valerie, and then Elena, and then Sasha went with the shortened Alexis. We asked her if she
and
wanted
they all
to do
had
Alexis or
nicknames:
Alex.
Lyra, Elena, Sasha.
Sasha. Yeah.
Yeah. Now they have different names. They
I
all
know.
changed them as
Sometimes
they-
I miss it. Like nobody
went along in
knows Valerie as Lyra, and I'm like, Lyra?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
It is.
Yeah.
But
And Lena.
I almost wish we kept Valerie's name as the
Valeria
but
was
she
more
wanted
the
to-
Russian name.
yeah. So she
The Russian pronunciation.
right.
So we went with just the English Valerie. That's why we went with the English Alexis to kind of shorten it and make it easier.
All right. So we meet them
Mm-hmm.
and immediately fall in love.
Yeah.
It was like an immediate, like, man, these are ours. I mean, that's.
And do you remember?
It's so weird,
Do you
right?
remember calling home and FaceTiming other kids and saying like 3 girls?
Yeah.
I wish I had like been able to record that.
Right. It was.
Because our oldest girl at home, Victoria,
Yeah.
was so excited when we said we were going to go meet a girl and her boy. Like she was so excited about a sister. And then devastated, of course, when they said no. And then we're calling and saying, well, you might not get one sister. You might get 3 sisters.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah.
And if you remember on the plane, I had mentioned that we're coming home with a
Girls, a girl.
And certainly that's what it seems to be like is going to happen at this point.
Yeah.
And so, and this was our last referral.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot to this process because if you think about it, we had to go. So we meet them, and the director's like, "Well, stick around a couple days,
Yeah.
and hang out."
She
with
let
them.
us spend some time with them,
right,
which was
before you go
amazing.
back and get your referral.
Yeah. And I think we needed that too.
Yeah.
Because we really needed to make sure that our girls wanted to become part of our family.
Right. And it was super nice, and we learned some things about Ukrainian culture in this time frame because we were like, all right, so tomorrow we'll set up a picnic. Remember going to the park and we're like, all right, we'll get a little picnic.
The director let us like take them out to eat. So we're like, well, we'll try to make it the
With the
cutest thing
facilitator,
with the
let's say.
facilitator, obviously. And we went, it was an outside thing. It was still nice out. It was like September-ish. And we went to this park and we thought we were getting the cutest food. And this is like, you don't even think that anything is different. We got these cute drinks. They were like fruity, fluffy drinks and even had like a couple pieces of candy in it. And they had ice
ice in the drink.
Okay, this is just like a side note for like cultural things. They don't drink ice there, and they believe, most people, I don't know if it's still this way, but ice was not good for you. Ice would get you sick and a sore throat, and you can't have ice. It's not, you don't give that to your kids. It's going to get them sick.
Yeah, we were bad.
And I had these 3 glasses with the cutest drinks ever with ice, and it was like we were trying to poison them.
They were like, nah.
No, this is, she was
No,
like,
we can't have that.
no, that's not happening. Like the drinks to the side, they cannot have ice. And I was like, oh, I didn't know.
So we learned some things.
Yeah.
But what's hilarious to this day, though, our girls love ice.
I know.
They absolutely love ice.
They take after me.
Yeah.
We even have an ice machine now.
Yeah,
So like
special
a special ice machine, not the ice machine that's in the fridge that we already have. We have an
Right.
extra one.
And why? Because they like ice. So anyway,
It's little
they
things
still
like
do the
that
hot
that we
teas
think.
and all of that stuff.
Oh,
which is,
yes.
so Ukrainian.
Yeah, hot teas, and we do, like we mentioned, today's our 10-year anniversary, so I'm going to make some borscht tonight.
Nice.
Some Russian soup for them, and we are planning a great big Russian dinner in a couple weeks to make all the Russian things that they
Right.
like so much, but we'll do that tonight. So we try to, when we can, go to a Russian European store and get snacks and goodies and have all that good food, because of course they miss it, and we enjoyed it for being there for 3 months. That's what we ate. So
Right. So here we are.
yeah.
We meet them. We go out and spend some time with them that day. And then we ended up spending a few days with them.
We spent a little bit of time and did different things around
Right.
town.
But this is the
bowling,
dilemma. Like we said, okay, we're going to be here for 6 weeks.
Mhm.
Well, we're at 6 weeks. We've already been.
The plan was a full process, 6 weeks, and come home.
Right.
And now we haven't even had a court date. We haven't had anything.
Right. We're at like the 6 week mark.
And it's 6 weeks.
And we're going to be there longer.
Yeah.
And we know it's going to be a lot longer. And so you end up traveling back and going to the referral by yourself, no?
No, I went back for a birth certificate, but the referral we had to go together.
We had to
were
go
both doing
together?
Paperwork.
Okay.
So after we spent a couple days with them, and that's what I think happened when
Right.
I was just with the girls. We were at the park one of those days and just talking, and wasn't trying to pressure anything, but I talked with Valerie, our oldest, and just asked her through our
Facilitator,
translator, because I can't speak Russian, asked her what she was thinking. And she'll, if we have a show with her, she'll tell you. The words,
Nope.
the words weren't even her words that came out of her mouth.
Right.
And she said, yes, I want you to do the paperwork, meaning like I want you to go do the referral and
Right.
come back. Like I want you to do that. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Again,
And I'm watching, I think it was, Alexis jumping on this
oh, that's
thing.
right. You
I'm
can
like
do it.
not even near you. We're at this place and
That's
it-
right.
and
It was the
there was-
playground.
oh, it
'cause
was-
they were on
no, they were on this jumpy thing.
Yes.
We did this the worst ride
Ferris-
ever in Ukraine.
Ferris wheel.
Ferris wheel. We'll put pictures of that in
Mhm.
the pictures and it was the worst.
So you
it
were being
was.
scared to
It
death.
was being they're like
And Valerie was telling me,
and
yes.
she's getting told all these nice things and I'm literally fearing for these kids' lives in Ukraine as like they're bouncing 70 feet in the air. I mean, it was something. And you literally text me and we're like, she said yes. And you're like bawling, there was, we didn't do emojis back then. It was 10 years ago.
No, because I was on the little text a letter 3 times
Right.
to get it out. Yeah.
Yeah. So no emojis back then, but you were like, so immediately I'm looking over at you like, what,
And even our facilitator, Yana, was like, whoa, this is a little early, because she was really wanting us to just
Right.
get to know them. And I was like, I didn't try.
didn't say
She said
anything.
it. Valerie did. And Valerie's like, yeah, I don't know what came over me. I just said.
Because even after this, she still was like, I'm not going with these people.
Well, that's the thing. Behind the scenes, so we would meet them every
day.
day. We'd spend a couple hours after school, and we would go to the orphanage, and we would bring snacks, and we'd bring goodies, and
Rosetta
card
Stone.
games, and Rosetta Stone. We'll get there. And the kids would meet us every day and
Right.
not have a problem. I think there's only one day where there was a problem, but they were all great. Well, what we didn't know is Valerie, our oldest, was saying, "I'm not going with them," and telling the workers, "I'm not going there." And the director, who was awesome, was telling her basically, "You're going with that American family if I have to put you on the plane myself."
Right. And what was funny is every day we would show up and the girls would be like, Amerikanskis are here. Yeah.
They wouldn't
And
even call it.
they wouldn't even
their
call it
names,
now.
our names.
We were the Amerikanskis.
It was like 3 weeks in, and we're like, I mean, even Vinny and Krystal would be better than
Yeah.
Amerikanskis.
Amerikanskis. Yeah.
But I did read. I'm kind of getting ahead because we should go back to the referral. But one of the days when Elena had asked Sasha something, where she got it from, and she said, "Krystal, Mama." Yeah, I know. But we had to go back to Key for the referral.
Right.
We had to go back and do that. And every single thing took time. Then we had to come back to where they were. So that's like 16-hour train rides and overnights and everything.
Right.
Even one document that we had submitted it. So where they were was Russian speaking, but obviously it was the country of Ukraine. So all the legal stuff had to be in Ukrainian.
Right.
Paperwork was translated, and one ending of one name was translated wrong. And it took 5 days for them to approve the change.
5
days. So nothing is happening when we're staying in a hotel and we're far away from the kids, our kids at home, and no progress is being made because of the ending of one little word.
So at this point, it got a little hard.
Yeah.
Right. And so we were there in country for a long time, in Ukraine, and it was a little hard for us. And, but there were some miracles that happened in the midst of it. And, because we went for 2, and now we have to adopt we're adopting 3. So that changed the cost.
Yep.
And so we were kind of stressing out about that.
Well, then one of the amazing things was, your mom was at our house and my parents were at the house. Everyone's helping take care of the kids, but we'd check in and talk to them, probably daily. And I would get my mother, would say, "Hey, did you apply for this grant?" Remember, I applied for every grant I could find under the sun. But we were getting checks in the mail that some of them I was like, I don't remember
that
even applying for that grant, or getting money from a grant that I'm like, I mean, I applied, but I never heard anything back from them. And all of a sudden we're getting a check for money.
Yep.
And we even applied for more grants while we were in country and got approval for some that were like, "Well, we'll pay you when you get back." I'm like, well, that doesn't help now.
It certainly helped when we got back.
We got back to pay off stuff. Yes.
But it was crazy to see like God just still doing it every step of the way. Yeah. And this is when we call my mom, and this is where the stupid faith comes from. If you remember this part of it,
you'll have to refresh.
Right. So I call my mom and I'm like, all right, so this is the change of plans. We're getting 3 girls, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, she's like, "Where's the money going to come from? How are you going to do this?" And I said, "Well, God hasn't let us down now." And she's like, "That's just stupid." And I said, "Yep, stupid faith it is, Mom. That's what we're dealing with. And that's what we're going to do until he fails us. We're just going to keep going." And that is where the whole stupid faith idea comes from. In the midst of this whole story, my mom didn't realize it, but she was giving the title to a whole sermon, a series, and all this, because that's what we stood on. It was for other people to look at us and be like, "You guys are absolutely stupid. I mean, this is dumb. You should not do this." Right? Like it's just not good, right? And I know you don't like the word stupid, so you're like questioning everything about it right now. I see your brain is just spinning. But the fact is, it was like people were. That's stupid. Yeah. Yep. But God hasn't let us down yet, and what's great is He still hasn't, and And for you guys that are probably wondering, hey, maybe I could do something like this, he won't let you down either. Because he never does. If he's going to take care of his kids, he's going to take care of them, and he's going to supply every step of the way. We went for 2, got 3, and God provided all of the finances, literally, and more.
Yeah.
Right. And let's talk about the and more a little bit. Right.
Well, I was thinking of some things while you were talking, but the and more is that, I want to backtrack for just a second. No, no, it wasn't even what you were saying, but one of the reasons why, which is a major thing in our story that the director wanted the kids to, be adopted, is that these were 3 girls, right. A big age range for them. And there was a big possibility they could have been separated. Right. I just wanted to hit on that. Yeah. So she was trying to keep these, sisters together. Yeah. And, have a life and not end up, on the streets, all of that. Okay. So I just wanted to mention that. But the and more, how God provided and always took care of us. So we had got a court date that we were like, okay, well, we're still waiting. We're doing all this. And then we got word that the court date was pushed back 2 weeks. Right. And I know that was our breaking point. Your breaking point. Because driving back from the orphanage on a bus.
Right. So we started getting frugal, right?
There were no more fancy taxi rides.
No, there was no more plane rides. There was no more, because we were at that point of okay, every penny counts. Yeah. Right. Every 10-cent bus ride.
When we first got there, we had a personal driver. Right. And then we're like, okay, well, we're not doing a personal driver. We'll just do a taxi. And then we're like, we're not even doing a taxi anymore. We're taking the bus.
Right. And so we asked our facilitator, so how does the bus system work here?
Yeah, because she left us.
Right. And she's like, you're Americans. You don't do the bus.
Take the bus. And we're like,
no.
It's 10 cents. We're going to take the bus.
We're literally taking the bus. She goes, okay, but
no one does that.
Not normal. I said, well, yeah, we're not normal. Yeah. She probably was like, that's stupid, but it is what it is.
The looks we got taking the bus.
We were the Amerikanskis on the Ukrainian buses.
So needless to say, that's where my meltdown happened.
Mashutkas, is that the name of the bus? Yeah, I think so.
It's close.
Yeah.
I won't even attempt because I can't say anything.
We took a lot of them. We took a lot of those buses.
So we had got the news that it was going to be 2 more weeks. Yeah. And on the bus, I lost it.
You lost it. You're crying. And then you're looking at me like, what are we going to do? I said, well, we're just going to go home. God's going to take care of it. You're like,
we were at 2 months from seeing our kids.
You were like, how are we going to do it? I said, all right, well, God will do it. And so I make a phone call, thinking I can do it on my own. This was a dumb move.
Well, we were gonna try to get plane tickets to go home.
Right. We're like, all right, I'm gonna
2 weeks.
So I'm like, I called a good friend of mine, my spiritual father, and I'm like, hey, this is our deal. We need to get home. Got to see the kids. Can we use your credit card? Mm-hmm. I'll pay you back when we get back because we got all these grants coming in.
You're desperate,
right? Yeah. And he's like, oh yeah, no worries. I mean, he's like, no problem at all. And so we end up trying to book tickets. We tried. We tried multiple times,
this
actually.
This is like the stuff of nightmares right here.
And so we're trying to purchase tickets. Every time we would go to purchase tickets, it would change the price on it at the very end, right? And then finally we got it to be the right price, and we book it. Well, it ended up booking it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. 4 different times.
It was 3.
3?
It was 3. I'll never forget it.
Okay, 3 different times.
He called us and said,
how many times are you going to book that flight?
My credit card has been charged 3 times.
Right. And so
talk about mortification.
And so we're like, we didn't do that. We only did once, and whatever. And so anyway,
it was such a nightmare.
It was a nightmare. And he's like, well, I'm like, we'll just cancel it. No big deal. And we'll figure it out. And he's like, well, I'll try and figure it out from my end. And so we're like, okay, no worries. Meanwhile, it's like, it was late at night. Right?
Yeah, it's the time difference. Yeah.
And so we go the next day, and we go back to the orphanage, and you're completely a mess on the bus ride back again, saying, look, it didn't work out. We're not going to be. And I'm like, don't worry, God is going to do it. And we get back to the hotel.
Well, we got back to the hotel, and it was nighttime. Yep. And I think I made a Facebook post just stating how the timeline had been pushed back again, and it was 2 weeks, and we would love to come home, but, we don't have $4,000 to get round trip tickets to be able to do this. And it was after I posted that,
Right.
all of a sudden, like Facebook was our connection to the whole world. There was that, got a message and looked at it, and my goodness, someone we knew who was connected to our story, who also knew our whole adoption agency and knew everything, contacted us and said, "You've been in Ukraine long enough. I already contacted the travel agency, and there's round trip tickets for you, and just let them know, and you guys can come home and you can see your kids."
Right. And it was for like we had a day, right? Like we literally had to.
Well, we
didn't have any time. Do you remember? Like it was like miraculous, right? And we had to go tell the girls like, "Hey, we're not going to be here for a week." Right. So that was like a crazy situation in and of itself. But we're like sitting on this, like, oh my gosh, God just came through. Right. And what happened right after we were like trying to figure out all the details.
Well, it wasn't even that. It was literally the same moment.
Right.
It wasn't the next day. It was that night. Like, I'm still crying sitting on the bed. That you're like fast forwarded. I'm like, what are you doing? It was that night. We got the one message saying, your tickets are already, like, they're already with the travel agency. Just call them and verify it. And then minutes later, we got another person who had a connection with our story, who said, "I can't imagine you being away from your kids so long. I want to pay for tickets." And I had to tell her, like, you have no idea this means the world to me, but someone just bought its tickets.
Too late. Sorry.
Like, sort of like tell someone like, that's amazing, but God already did it.
Yeah. And so we were able to come home at that point, but
and
we had to go like share that with the girls, which was,
well, we had to tell them, and our court date was coming. So it's like, nothing is official. And we had to say, we'll be back, which I don't know what they were thinking in their minds.
You think of like the,
they could have just said, they probably thought, are we ever going to see them again? Yeah, they're leaving us. We were there all the day, every day.
We need to find out like from their side of it, but our side of it was that we got to go see our kids.
Yes. And we didn't tell.
We didn't want to leave our kids to go see our kids.
Our Ukrainian
we had
kids to see our American kids.
Right.
But we didn't tell our kids at home that we were coming home, so we completely surprised them. Yep. The only person we told was my mom, because she had to pick us up from the airport. So she was working, so she came and picked us up after work, and so the kids were home with your mom.
Yep.
And completely shocked them as we walked in the door, and they had no idea we were back in Florida and there, and we just had the best week being home with them. And also prepped, got the girls' rooms ready. That was another miracle that we were able to go home, because as a mom, I'm stressing out. I'm like, I don't have a bedroom for them.
Right.
Like I have a boys' bedroom. So we were able to come home and do like a whole extreme makeover and flip the rooms.
I mean, the amount of stuff that people gave us and helped.
Oh, people
and
were
was
amazing.
Like, I mean, to get the beds and all that stuff it was wild.
Yeah.
So
there were so many people who were part of our story and looking over stuff. Our church at the time sent meals like twice a week to our family at home. So just to help with meals and feeding. And
you know what? You remember we sent them a video?
Yes.
Right, to the church.
Yeah.
So, during this episode, probably right here is a good spot. Let's show that video. Right, so that they can be a part of witnessing what we shared with our church during that time. So take a look at this, and we'll be right back right after this.
Hey, EMC, good morning.
Привет.
We hope that you're having a great Sunday morning, and we wish that we could be there with you.
We sure do.
We've been away a long time.
It's been like
7 weeks we've been away, and we miss you all. And we just wanted to share with you guys that we are so thankful for your love and support and all your prayers. We appreciate it so much that our church family is supporting us. So thank you for praying for us. And as most of you know, we came here to Ukraine to adopt two boys, two awesome boys that we hosted last summer.
But
Yes, but God had a different plan.
not just different, like it's like enormously different.
It is very different. So we are not announcing our kids to the Facebook world until after court when they are officially ours.
But we like you guys, like a lot. So we're gonna tell you something special for you.
Since you guys are our family, our church family, we wanted to give you a sneak peek and share our kids with you so you guys can be praying for us and for them specifically. So I hope that you enjoy.
Our little secret.
Mhm.
It's between us and like the thousands
You.
of people that are at church today.
But just those people that are there.
Nobody else knows though.
Nobody else.
Just you guys.
So here you go. Meet the new Correales. Hey everyone, we're so excited to introduce you to our girls. This is Elena, Sarah, and Sasha.
Закрой глаза, прислушайся и познай, что Он Господь над всей землей. Закрой глаза, прислушайся, закрой глаза, прислушайся.
Hey everyone, we recognize this episode's getting a little long, so what we're going to do is we're going to pause here and we're going to get back to it next week in another episode as we continue to share our journey, our adoption journey with you. So hey, I just want to pray blessings over you. May the Lord bless you. May He keep you. May His face shine upon you, and may He give you peace. Be blessed. Be encouraged. We'll see you next week.